All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of an untitled video interview show where I talk to pre professional dancers working hard to make it into the professional world of dance. And today, my very first guest is one of my fellow SB2 members, fellow Texas native, and big Harry Styles fan, Julia Payne. Welcome, Julia.
Hello, thanks for having me. Yes, emphasis on the Harry Styles fan.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's just get started. My very first question is, where are you from?
So, I am originally from the Woodlands, Texas, which is just north of Houston, Texas. So, you can just say I'm from Houston, Texas. And yeah, I lived in Texas for most of my life, but I've been other places as well.
Nice. How did you start dancing?
I started dancing through my parents, which is usually what happens for most people is they're put into classes. But for me, my parents actually owned a ballet studio. So it was kind of just natural for them to put me into classes. And then I fell in love with it. I just kept doing it. And here we are today, still
Oh,
doing
okay.
ballet. Yeah, that's how I got into it.
Gotcha. And are your parents still dance instructors?
Yes, they are currently at Ballet West. My dad is the trainee director, and then my mom teaches in the school and also works with the company.
Oh, okay.
So,
Very
so
nice.
yeah, they're still in it, um, which is which is great. It's very nice having parents that understand what this whole industry is.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and to have them as constant resources, that is definitely a big blessing in my life.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So kind of just walk me through your journey, how you got here to Sacramento Ballet.
Yeah. It's kind of a long one. I did not think that I would end up here. Um, so I started dancing at my parents' studio in Houston. I grew up in public school my whole life, so I went to like normal high school. I went to homecoming and prom. I did the whole, kind of normal kid thing, I guess you could say, which I am personally very like thankful for that I got to experience that. Um, while like starting my pre-professional training there. And then
Hmm.
after that, I graduated high school and I went to the University of Oklahoma for 2 years to start to get a BFA in ballet performance. Um, I was only there for 2 years. I did not finish my degree. I plan on finishing it at some point. School is important. Um, I just have not at the time like gotten there yet to finish it. Um, but after my 2 years, I went to Texas Ballet Theater and joined the studio training company. And I was there for 2 years. And then after that, I came here last season and was a trainee. And then now I am in SB2.
Nice.
And yeah, that's kind of my journey. And then in the middle of my time at TBT, that is when COVID hit.
Right.
So that is when, of course, things kind of got crazy. We spent a lot of time on Zoom that year, as everyone did. And that was just a fun time. Also, a very challenging time mentally
Mm,
for me, as
yeah,
everyone.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of my story. Do you have any specifics from there? Any specific questions from any places that I was?
So yeah, so you were at the Oklahoma University for 2 years, and did So did TBT offer you their studio company position and then you decided you would stop going to college or
Yeah, so initially when I graduated high school, I wanted to go the professional route right away
mm-hmm.
and join some sort of like trainee program, second company. But after doing like some company auditions that year, before I graduated, I kind of realized that I wasn't quite ready for that yet. And so that's when I decided going the university route would be good. But I was also going to OU under the impression that I didn't have to stay the 4 years.
Oh,
Like
okay.
basically if like as a personal decision, if I had auditioned somewhere or received an offer, like I would be okay with leaving and not finishing my BFA at that moment. Um, because kind of in this industry, you have to kind of go where the job is offered in a way, you know,
Yeah.
where opportunity strikes. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I know like school was always there, but we can only dance for so long in
Right. Yeah.
our bodies and like however long we have, like however much given time we're all destined to have in this industry. Um, and I thankfully had parents who also understood that. So they weren't like, you have to go finish your full years or your 4 years before you can even like start to audition for companies and stuff. And so I did my freshman year and then I decided like, oh, like I can at least do another year because your freshman year, you kind of like, it takes a while to get situated and get in a routine. And so the spring of my second year, well, technically winter, I did some auditions, and that's when I went and did the TBT audition, and they offered me studio training company. And after thinking about it more, it was more the direction I was wanting to go at that time, in terms of like dancing all day, working with a company, getting to perform more. Um, I loved my time at OU. I learned so much and I grew so much. But I think the biggest reason I left is because I just wanted that more like to be fully immersed into
Yeah.
company life or like start to get that way. Because
Mm-hmm.
obviously, when you're at school, you're having to go back and forth between your dance classes and your academics. Um, and just like at that time, I was just wanting more dance. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. So that's kind of how that happened. Um, and I actually was on track to graduate in 3 years from OU, because I was also going
Oh.
to get a general business minor. But if I dropped that and just finished out the ballet performance, if I would have gotten, like, I would have had to go to the summer sessions 2 years to get like those credits for ballet and then performing. Um, so I would have finished in, I guess, like 3.5 years. But I still like, I don't know, I was just wanting a little bit more performing.
Yeah.
But I do not like not wish that I didn't go to OU, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because yeah, I also really like grew as a person while I was there, which is, I think, important. I mean, everybody after they graduate high school and go off and start to do their own things, it's like those first few years on your own that you kind of like figure out what you want to do and who you want to be, where you want to go. Um, so I'm kind of glad I did that in a university setting.
Yeah,
So
that's really
yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah, it's not exactly what everyone does. Like usually people like they go to school, they finish school, and then they go or they like skip school for the
right, yeah.
moment, or they go into a company setting and then they take
Mm-hmm.
classes and get their degree all online. But I went and then I left, and so I do plan on going back. Don't worry.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So, just walk me a little bit on your time at TBT.
TBT. So Um, let's see. First year, that was 2019, and I went to the summer intensive beforehand, which I personally have liked doing before I go somewhere. Like at TBT before I started there in the fall, I went to that summer, which was a really good way to get introduced to the teachers, get used to like the area, the city. And I did the same thing before I moved here in 2021 for Sacramento. So I do recommend doing that. That's just like a personal thing. I was there for the summer, really liked it. And then that also just um, like made me feel like I made the right decision with like agreeing to come in the fall. That first year we did a lot of things. Well, we first started out like right away with the company working on Sleeping Beauty because that was the
Mm.
company's first rep. Um, and so that was a lot of fun getting to like be put in those rehearsals right away. We were court people. Um, we were covering nymphs and garland waltz, which like the second run of shows, I got to be in both of those, which was really great. Um, and we were also like lilac fairy attendants, like the non-dancing ones, the ones that just like
Mm.
came in at the end and posed and looked pretty, but we were in the costume, so it looked like the same people. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of our own rep, like some contemporary stuff. Um, we had like a fall showcase. What else did we do that fall? Oh, we brought back a piece from the summer, one of our contemporary pieces, and then we did a couple of shows like around the city, um, like with other like schools and stuff, just performances. And then there was Nutcracker, which is great as always. That was like my first like full on run of Nutcracker because TBT does they do almost like 40 shows, I want to say,
Yeah.
because they dance in both Fort Worth and Dallas.
Yeah.
And so that was like never ending. But it was great. I got to do snow and flowers and then rats and cooks. So that's always fun. Um, and then in the spring semester, we had some of our like own rep that we were working on. We were working on Les Sylphides, more contemporary stuff. And then in March of that year, that's when COVID hit. So we didn't finish out that time. But then when I was back home, we were on Zoom classes until the summer. And then I came back and did that summer intensive. We did like a hybrid summer intensive where like
Hmm.
half the days you were in the studio, half the days you were on Zoom. And then that next year, we came back and we weren't working with the company at all, just due to like COVID policies and stuff. So that was like a little sad, when you don't get to do
Yeah.
that. But it was nice being back in the studio, and we worked on Swan Lake. We did some more contemporary stuff, and we worked on a lot of variations, which I actually really liked that year. Um, I think it was like in January that next year, we did like a variation showcase where we all got coached on like a different variation. So we learned a total of like 14 variations that year. Um, and so that was nice to like get to work on that many and then perform one. And then, yeah, we finished off that year and I did that year I did the NSIA audition, and that's actually how I ended up in Sacramento because from that audition I got the traineeship offer for Sacramento. And so that's I think I was between that and then a trainee offer from Sarasota. Um, but looking into it, I just felt like Sacramento was a better fit. Um, and yeah, that was kind of my time at TBT. I really liked it. I danced a lot, that's for sure. Um, and we worked on a lot of different things. And actually, at TBT, that was kind of well, at OU, I got exposed to a lot of contemporary work, like contemporary ballet. Growing up, I didn't really do a lot. So at OU, that was like
Yeah.
my first exposure to it. But um, at OU, I ended up doing more like modern based contemporary, I would say, and a little bit less like ballet contemporary. So when I was at TBT, that was my first exposure to like ballet contemporary. Um, yeah, sorry, that was kind of a long, um, kind of whole explanation of my time at TBT.
No, that's okay. I'm I'm glad I got to learn this. And TBT is also where you met your roommate Daniel, right?
Yes, it is. He
Yeah.
was a trainee there both years. And then we both just like coincidentally ended up in Sacramento. Like he actually we both found out through my roommate my first year, Bella Marino, who was also a
Okay.
trainee at TBT. She, like, we both found out through her that we were coming to Sacramento. So then, like, we were put in
Oh.
contact with each other. And we were like, hey, like, that'd be great if we could be roommates because we like kind of already knew each other. And um yeah, so the dance world is a small place. You never know
Yeah,
who you
for
will
sure.
run into again or end up dancing with again. um yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and now just tell me a little bit how Sacramento Ballet has been for you.
It's been good. um the way I said that hesitation made it sound like it was bad. It definitely is not. No, I love it here. That was just me thinking of how to begin my Sacramento story. um Overall, it's been great. I love it here. I never again imagined myself living in California. Honestly, I never really imagined myself anywhere specifically. Like once I kind of got to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna go wherever the job takes me, I kind of had like an ultimate location to end up in, like kind of just like disappear. Because
Yeah,
like
that's very fair.
I just my ultimate goal is I just want to dance. So wherever is going to have me dance, I will go. um
Yeah.
so I came here the summer of 2021, did the summer intensive here. That was great, danced a lot. It was very hot. It's very hot and dry here because I'm from Texas. I'm from Houston, Texas. So I'm used to the humidity. I am not used to the dryness. So that was a shock.
Yeah. Oh
um
yeah.
I'm used to it now. But the first like month or so took some getting used to. And then let's see, the first couple things that we worked on was just like at that time we only had the trainee project. The second company hadn't started since this is like the second company's inaugural year. I mean, hence why you're here.
Yeah.
So it was just the trainees. We had, how many was it? 14 women, I think, in the group.
Oh, okay.
So 13 or 14 around there. So that was like our whole group. And we worked on um, the Odalisque trio from Bide. And then we had some contemporary things. Anthony set a new work on us. This was for like our first October show. And then Stefan also set a piece on us. So that was really nice getting to work with them right off the bat, especially Anthony, like as artistic director, getting to work with him at the start of the year was like very
Right.
promising in terms of like how much we would get to work with him. And I love that we work
Yeah.
with him a lot. I feel like it's not rare for second companies, but I felt like it was rare for like trainees to like have that,
Oh yeah.
like work with them that much. And so we did that, and then we started with Nutcracker, which was quite the experience since it was a brand new Nutcracker um, last year. So that was kind of a cool process to be a part of because I had never been a part of like a new version of a classical ballet being set on a company. Like I had that when I was younger, like when my parents would do their performances, we did a lot of the classics like Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, Coppelia, like all that, but it's definitely different like in a company setting. So
Yeah.
that was fun. Loved getting to do that. And then in the spring, um, we worked on a lot of things with Jill. Like she set a piece on us, and then a lot of our time in the spring was spent on a choreographic workshop, which was a really neat process. There were 8 of us that got to choreograph, basically like whatever we wanted and choreograph on each other, and then we performed at the end of the semester. So that was kind of a neat introduction to like choreographing in that aspect because I did a little bit when I was at OU, choreographing. I was in like a composition class. That was kind of my first personal experience with choreographing, and like kind of performing something in front of people. But this was like my first time choreographing something more on a stage setting. Like it wasn't in studio showing, but there was like an audience and the whole 9 yards. So I really loved getting to do that, and kind of seeing how I work as a choreographer. Because I feel like you have like an idea in your head how you'll be when you actually get to work with dancers. And then once you get in the
Mm-hmm.
studio, like it might be a little different. Um, so that was good. And then we had our end of the year spring performance. We did Cinderella excerpts, like variations from Cinderella. And that was fun. And then my second summer here, I took classes and stayed in shape. And I also taught in the school during the summer. I taught during the junior intensive, which was really nice. Like I taught more than I thought I would be teaching. Um, and I've kind of taught like a little bit here and there throughout like growing up and then being at OU. I would sub for some friends, and then at TBT I was like a class assistant and would do that. But
Oh, okay.
this was my first time. Like I also subbed a little bit in that spring semester last year, within the school. And then the school director, George, asked if I wanted to teach more during the summer. And I was like, yeah, like I'd love to get like the experience and the practice because that's kind of like how you just like start teaching more.
Right.
And so I kind of like found my teaching style and I love working with kids. So that was a really fun experience. And now I teach like full time at another local studio in Sacramento. And yeah, and then now we're on to this season. We did some community engagement performances in the fall, and then we went straight into Nutcracker, which was great. And then now here we are working on Swan Lake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked it. I don't know. I love um, the staff at Sac Ballet. I just feel like they're all like very encouraging and like they really want you to work your best. And it's also like kind of that friendly teacher student relationship, but
Mm-hmm.
not too
Yeah.
much to the point where it's like all fun and games and you don't want to work. You know what I'm saying. Um like
Oh, yeah.
it's lighthearted in the way that like it makes you want to work harder, which I think is important in this industry because
Yeah.
if everything is just too like this and like very like strict and harsh, then kind of what's the point, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I was thinking about this the other day, and there's just something so genuine and more real in a sense, being at Sacramento Ballet, just from the artistic staff, the company dancers, and even in the second company. Yeah, it just when I was at Ballet Met last year, everything felt more not commercialized in a sense, but just not as genuine over there, to be honest.
yeah, I feel like everyone here is just very straightforward,
Hmm.
and transparent, which I appreciate. and it's not really sugar coated all the time, which I think is necessary. Like, if I'm doing something
Right.
bad or not doing what I'm supposed to, I'd rather you just tell me straight and not be like, well, maybe you shouldn't like do this, but like without like telling me what's wrong. You know what I mean? I just kind of want someone to be
Right.
like,
Yeah.
you're not turned out enough in this. Like, what are you doing? That looks awful. And I'm like, cool, thanks. Did not know that, but I know now.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Where is Oklahoma University? Is it? It's not in Oklahoma City, is it?
No. So I actually think there is an um Oklahoma University. I don't know, but it's like technically the University of Oklahoma. But
Ah,
it's no,
okay.
no. But then like the initials of it are OU, which like makes you think it's Oklahoma University. Yeah,
Right,
but it's
yeah.
yeah. It's in Norman, Oklahoma, which is basically
Okay,
just a college town for OU.
gotcha.
But it's only about like 30 minutes south of Oklahoma City. So
Oh, okay,
while I was
okay.
there, I got to go see Oklahoma City Ballet perform a couple of times, which was really nice. Got to see them do some mixed reps and Swan Lake, actually. um, yeah, so that was cool to be close to there.
Yeah, I was just asking, so between Oklahoma, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Sacramento, which have you enjoyed living at the most?
Huh, it's kind of hard. I'd say Oklahoma number three, just because it was like a college town and I like, yeah, I was kind of like just there for school. It was fun to just
Hmm.
like drive around sometimes in like the open land and, listen to your music. I do like doing that a lot wherever I am. Oh, between Texas or California. See, that's such a hard one because I'm like from Texas, so like no matter I feel like no matter
Yeah.
what part of Texas I'm in, it's always going to feel like home. And I liked Fort Worth. But I also like being here because you're so close to like so many things that like you could
Yeah,
drive like an hour outside of the city and like find some really cool hikes. And then San Francisco is just an hour and a half away. So I don't know. Texas and California both have really good sunsets, which I love.
that's true. Yeah.
They're like different, but it's like hard to compare them. So I don't know. Oh, I might say here a little bit more. I don't
Yeah.
know. Well, ultimately, we'll put Texas and California at a tie,
Okay, yeah.
if that's an acceptable answer.
No, yeah, that's totally
Okay,
acceptable.
cool.
Yeah. Okay. Do you prefer turns or jumps?
This is going to be a really bad answer, but it depends on the day.
That's fair.
um, I don't know. I would. Jeez, why is that such a hard question for me? I don't know. I like everything. I'm one of those people that likes everything, and I know people don't like that answer because they're like, no, you have to have something more that you like. But I feel like, okay, definitely when I was younger, I was a jumper. Um, I'd probably lean more towards jumper still today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like a bad turner, but I'm also not like the best turner. Like I'm not someone who could just like whip out five pirouettes every day. Um, I feel like you're more a turner. Or okay,
Yeah. I'm definitely more of a turner.
because I could see that. And I also wasn't calling you out when I said I could just whip out five pirouettes every day. But I mean,
Oh.
you managed to do that every day and make it look so easy. And I'm just like, I will take my clean double today.
No, that's honestly the better way to approach turns, anyways.
It's just like whenever you do like 7 or 8, I'm just like, I cannot do that. But yeah. Yeah, I guess I'd say jumper. We'll go with that.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, when I watch you in class, I think you have a good balance between the two. I mean, I can see when you say you like jumps a little bit more, you have a nice jump, or you have a nice quality in your jumps. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite piece of rep that you have performed?
I was thinking about this earlier and then I couldn't decide, so then I switched to thinking about another question and I never came back to this one. Um, oh gosh.
We can go with classical rep and non-classical rep if that
Yeah.
helps.
Um, let me think for a second. I feel like we're gonna finish this and then I'll like think about it later and be like, oh, I forgot I did that. Um, classical, I think I might say when I did Swanhilda and Coppelia as like my senior year show, graduating high school. I don't know. I love
Oh,
that
okay.
ballet. It's like actually kind of one of my favorites just because it's so fun and lighthearted and there are a lot of cute like comedic moments in it. Um, so I liked that one. I also do really like Swan Lake. I've actually done parts of Swan Lake like 5 different times now. I feel like it's like the ballet that will always follow me. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people in their careers, like there's always one that they end up doing a lot. It's definitely been Swan Lake for
Yeah.
me. Especially Act Two, like White Swan Paw. I think that's one of my all-time favorite pas de deux. And then
Hmm.
the
I agree.
coda music in Act Two is just like, oh, so good. Um, and then neoclassical, I guess I'll throw that in the mix. The only one I've actually performed is Concerto Barocco. I did that at OU, and that was a really neat
Oh.
experience. That was really cool. We had Neelis Martins come and set that, so
Ah,
that was
nice.
fun. I'll throw that in there. So there's classical, and then contemporary. I kind of want to say Entropic Variations that we just performed. Um,
Really?
because there were parts of it that I don't know, I just really liked the movement, and it could be because parts of it like we created ourselves, and so like the parts of that I got to perform just like since like we created it, um, or like helped choreograph it, they felt more natural on my body. So I think I would say that one. Um, or actually, Colby's Bigote that we performed last year for
Oh,
Beer and
okay.
Ballet. Um, oh, I totally forgot to mention that in my little Sacramento story that we did Beer and Ballet at the beginning of this year. I totally just forgot about that part.
Oh.
Anyways, Beer and Ballet has been an amazing experience too. I will go back on that a little bit. Um, but yeah, I think I'd say Bigote. It like his movement is so unique and it like really challenged me a lot last year. Like working with him on contemporary work and just being like so grounded. I think like his working with him on contemporary really has helped my contemporary work improve a lot. So yeah, I actually take back the entropic variations. I'm going to put Colby's piece above that. Yeah. So
Nice. Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
variety.
yeah, it's kind of hard to pick
Yeah.
favorites sometimes. Um,
Yeah, I'm surprised that you were able to do a balancing piece at
yeah,
OU.
that was really a really cool experience. I feel like they've performed Serenade there
Oh,
before,
okay.
maybe. Um, I don't know. Yeah, but I got really lucky getting to do that. Um, we did that in kind of like a mixed rep performance with some contemporary works. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, that was cool because I never like officially done or performed a Balanchine piece. I've learned like Balanchine variations over the summer, like at summer intensives and stuff like that when you're taught random little snippets. Um,
Yeah.
and then I've learned like the beginning of Serenade before because honestly, at this point, who hasn't?
Right.
um, but yeah, it's definitely different, very quick, and Concerto Barocco is a hard one on the core women because they never leave the stage.
Hmm. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so that was something because like the first section's really hard, and then the second section it's like almost a little Swan Lake esque where there are times where you're just standing in B plus and your whole body's like cramping up, and then you have to go in to do some bérets or some like traveling releves, and you're like, can I just take a minute off stage? But no, that was good. I like
Yeah,
doing that.
no, that's good. Yeah, internally, I was ecstatic when you mentioned Concerto Rocco because I'm a huge sucker for Balanchine
Ah,
ballets, even though I've only performed
mm-hmm.
one in my life, which was also staged by
Oh,
Neelis.
yeah.
So
Yeah, he
yeah,
was really fun to work with. He had really good energy.
yeah.
That was good. Yeah, I feel like I'm like missing something that I've performed. But yeah, I think that those are good answers for now.
Yeah. And then do you have like a dream rep or dream role that you would like to perform?
I love Romeo and Juliet. Um, the ballet as a whole, the music is stunning. Um, so I think Juliet would be really cool to perform. Um, Also, just like Aurora and Sleeping Beauty, because that is just such like a fully packed role. Um, and like technically, you have to be like super strong and like stamina wise. I think that'd be really cool. Um,
Mm.
and then I would love to do In the Middle, Somewhat Elevated by Trey McIntyre. Or why did I say that? Sorry, I was moving on. Um, by Forsyth. Where did that come from? Um,
Oh,
yes, In the
okay.
Middle, Somewhat Elevated with the green and the black and like the really cool music. Um, like for contemporary wise, that and then also just like something by Trey McIntyre. Like his work is just really cool. Um, that's why I jumped the gun and said his name. And yeah, I'd probably say those.
Okay.
Yeah. And also I just like I don't think it would ever happen, but if I could perform anything by Justin Peck, I think that'd be great. I think his choreography is like so unique and cool and like his concepts are
Hmm.
really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you could choose between doing a paw or a duet, a group dance or solo, which ones of those do you like doing the most?
Hmm. Oh, that's a really good question. It kind of like I feel like it depends on the style as well. Um, I do like a good like solo or variation. Um, but then I'd probably put second, um, like a duo, because it's really fun to feed your energy off of somebody else when you're on
Hmm.
stage. Um, I mean, you
Yeah.
could do that in like any group, of course, but like when it's just you and one other person, I guess that applies in a pas de deux. Um, but like just like a duo in general, um, I
Yeah.
feel like those are fun. So that's probably what I'd say. Yeah.
Nice. Um, okay. Have you ever had any serious injuries so far?
Luckily, we're gonna knock on some wood. Um, I haven't dealt with anything that has kept me from dancing for a long period of time. Like I've had no breaks, no sprains, um, anything like that. My biggest thing is like my ankles and my metatarsals. I used to get like Achilles tendonitis very easily, and so I'd have to like take it easy. And then I do have osteogonum in my left foot, which is the extra bone like in the back of your ankle.
Oh.
Um, it hasn't caused too many issues to the point where I need to get it taken out quite yet. That might eventually have to happen. But since that's in there, it does limit my range of motion a little bit on that foot, which can get kind of difficult. Um, but I do have arthritis in my metatarsals already at the
Oh.
ripe age of 23. So we love that. I, at first, I'd say that's like the biggest thing that I have struggled with because I went to, when it was first happening, I thought it almost might be like a stress fracture or something. But then I got like MRIs done and they were like, nope, there's just a lot of inflammation and there's like you have a bone spur that will like hopefully work itself out. But they're like, yeah, it's just basically arthritis. And I was like, great. So like the only thing I can really do for it is pain management. Um, so that can kind of hurt at the end of long days. But
Okay.
I'd kind of say that's about it. When I was younger, growing up, I had jumper's knee, um, like Oz. I'm gonna butcher this. Osgood Schlatters, like that little thing. That's like the technical term. I probably did not pronounce it correctly. Anyways, jumper's knee. I had that, so I've
Hmm.
had like a couple of knee tweaks here and there. But yeah, that's kind of the biggest things. Nothing too crazy. No surgeries. I've never had any surgeries. Um, yeah, just good old arthritis.
Yeah. Yeah, well, not too bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully, I'm hoping for you no serious injuries that'll prevent you from dancing for a long period of
yeah,
time.
me too. It's like what we can all hope.
Yeah. So, just briefly walk me through a daily schedule as an SB2.
As an SB2, I wake up, I press snooze a couple times. No, just kidding. I won't take you through all that, but I do press snooze too many times in the morning. We have
I
we
do
have
too.
class from 9:30 to 11, and then we'll have rehearsals. Currently, we will have rehearsals from 11:15 until 2:15. So we'll have a 3-hour block of rehearsals, and then we have lunch for an hour, and then another 3-hour block until 6:10. Um, and right now, yeah, we just have class with the second company, so it's like trainees and SB2. Um, Pretty much every day, once a week, we get to take company class, which is great. I love doing that and getting to dance and just see all of the company dancers work, and yeah, it's great. Um, and so we do that, and then right now we're working on Swan Lake, so we're in with like company rehearsals all day long. And then after that finishes, our schedule will go back to still class in the morning, and then we'll have a little bit of a shorter day. We'll just go until 4 p.m. with rehearsals, working on our various rep that we'll be working on. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of our day.
Yeah, it's not too bad actually. Not too demanding or draining.
Yeah, it's like how it's broken up is nice. I mean, I know they like have to break up the day
Hmm.
that way. But doing like the 3 hours and then having a full hour and then another 3 hours, it's like very well spread.
Yeah. Okay. In your opinion, what are the most important qualities or traits someone needs to be able to succeed getting into a second company or even a professional company?
Oh, wow, there's a lot. Um,
Yeah.
I'd say you have to be smart and on top of things. Um, you have to be like quick to learn. Um, you have to be a hard worker because a lot of people they have the natural facility, they can turn naturally, they can just like magically be able to jump in the air 20 feet without really trying. But if you don't do the work, you're not going to last very long because the people at the front of the room, they see that. And if you're not really trying, it's just like, it's kind of like, what's the point? Like to continue to grow in this
Hmm.
industry, you have to put in the work every day and show up, just like give it all your work. Um,
Right.
so there's that. And then I'd also say, so is that like work hard, be smart, to put it very short. Um, Another thing that I think is important is to like be positive because a lot of times, like, I mean, we all have our days where we come in and like it's not an easy job what we do. Um, your body hurts all the time. You're tired. You're gonna have to run this variation 5 times today. Um, but like, there's always something to look for or like to look forward to in your day. Um, like being a dancer is such a gift, I think, in my opinion, that like you can't really go through too many days in a row, like not being happy about it, or else it's kind of like, why are you doing it? That's like my opinion on it. So just don't be a Debbie Downer, I guess. Yeah, I'd say those are
Yeah.
like my big three.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
That's good.
kind of.
And I mean, you def
Oh, I was just gonna say they're.
yeah, I mean, you
Oh, sorry.
definitely
Sorry, I
sorry,
was just
go
gonna
on.
say that's definitely more on the like non technical sides because like we could talk about technique and I mean everyone knows what you have to be able to do as a
Yeah.
dancer, but like as a person, like I'd say that's what you need to have in this business. So
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. I was just gonna say, yeah, you need to be positive, especially to the people in front of the room. You can, even if you're not having a great day, you can't really have an attitude
nope,
with
they see
them.
it. They see it all. They
Yeah,
really do.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, how much do you still enjoy dancing, and how much does it feel like work?
I I still love it 100% with all of who I am. Um, Again, like I was saying a second ago, there are those days that are hard. You wake up, you're tired, you don't want to go and do your plies again for the thousandth time. Um, So yeah, there are those days where it does feel like work a little bit, but more so in the routine. Um, but I don't know. I just find something positive in like everything that we do, even if it's running Swan Court again from the beginning and doing 16 temps levés to obliques. Like, yeah, that hurts. Sometimes that does start to feel a little bit like work because you know how it is. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. Like, yes, it is work and we go in and do the same thing every day, but in a way, we don't do the same thing every day because we dance different things, we learn different things every day. So I don't know. I feel like if you are a dancer and you look at it as just being your job, then you're not really getting the full experience of what it
Mhm.
is to be a dancer
Yeah.
and to be an artist. Because that's what we are. Like we get to create things and move and, all that. So yeah, I don't really see it as work that much, even though again, it like it is, but it's kind of one of the coolest jobs I think you could have.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Are you scared of not making it into the professional world of dance?
Um, yeah, I think that's in the back of all of our heads in this like trainee second company position. Like it's kind of everyone, in every company. It's hard to kind of get that next step like into the company because like we're here, we're working with them, but a big thing is like do they really like me enough to keep me on or um do they have any spots open in the first place? That's always a big question. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it is kind of scary not necessarily knowing where you'll be at like during any given year, because it is mostly, like it's a year to year contract, sometimes 2 years. Um, but I just kind of think if I'm doing everything I can every day, if I'm, again, putting in the work, trying my best, showing up, that whatever's meant to happen will happen. Um, yeah, it is kind of scary having the unknown looming somewhere over here. But
Yeah.
you know, it'll happen if it'll happen.
Yeah. And is your goal for the next season to make it? Well, I guess obviously it is. I mean that
Nope, I'm
probably is
out.
your
That's
goal,
it.
but
I'm
I
done.
mean, well, I mean, would you be okay with doing another year of being in a second company?
That's a difficult question. I think I will cross that bridge when I completely get to it, like depending on what offers I get places. I think I'll take that like as a case by case kind of situation, depending on where it might be. Just because I am a little bit on the older side. Because I'm 23, so I'll be 24 like at the start of next season. Which again, like these days, it's different than like years ago when it was like if you're in the second company, you're like in your late teens, maybe 20. But like nowadays, everybody has a different path, a different journey of getting to where
Hmm.
um, they want to be. So like this is my 6th year out of high school, so it's like I've been multiple places. Um, but like all of those things have led to where I am and who I am today. Um, so it just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see what happens. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you plan on doing a lot of auditioning this season or?
Yeah, I've already done one in person. I have a couple more lined up, and then I'll just be sending my video a lot of places. Um, but yeah, kind of just to anywhere that's on my radar. And we'll just, again, see what happens. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
the worst thing places can say is no. And you're just like, okay, cool. Like, moving on to the next one. Like, not gonna
Right. Yeah.
hang on too much to that. Like, it is kind of unfortunately, it is what it is. Um, it's just, we're in a very unique industry that's how we get jobs versus most places. Like, you get an interview offer, you go do the interview, and then it's like, okay, cool, you're hired. But like, no, like our interview is taking a class with 70 other people all at once. So,
Yeah.
or just being one video that they might look at for 30 seconds and skim through it, and then they'll put us on a yes, no, or maybe list. So,
Right.
just
Yeah.
kind of how it is.
Yeah. Okay, so has there been one event or moment in your lifetime that still resonates you or motivates you or affects the way you dance or just in life in general?
Wow. It's a really deep question there, Joseph. Um, huh. I don't know. I feel like for me, it's like a lot of little things that happen. I don't know, just maybe like after a performance I feel really good about, like that's motivating for a while. And maybe something that like a teacher says that really sticks with you. Um, I don't think there was any like one big thing. Um, yeah, it's kind of just like about the little victories for me that keep me going.
Yeah.
Um, like one of my favorite things to get is like when people like tell you like, oh, like you're doing really good, like you've improved a lot, like keep up the good work, something like that. Because then that, like, it's confirming that if you really are putting in the work, that like, okay, what I'm doing is worth it. Versus sometimes if you're like trying really hard and like it doesn't seem like it's paying off, then you're kind of like, well, what's the point of me doing this? So I really like it when like people are communicative about how you're actually doing. Um, yeah, so I'd say that, and then just like performances that feel really good, like where everything goes well, and you're like, okay, cool, like all that rehearsal time and all of those runs of stuff was really worth it for the end product. But again, nothing is perfect in this line of work, so you can just feel good about what you do and yeah, just keep going.
Yeah. No, that's a perfectly good answer. Um, okay. This will be probably the second to last kind of deep question. Do you have any regrets looking back in your dance life?
The only Oh, sorry,
And
go ahead.
oh,
Oh,
sorry, no, go on.
um, I wouldn't say I have any regrets. It's just like the one thing I do think about sometimes is if I didn't go to OU. if like my path would look different. But like I said earlier, like I don't regret my time at OU at all. Like I loved being there. I learned so much and I grew so much as a dancer and a person. So I think that was really good for me to choose that. Um, Funny thing is, I actually that same year, kind of like the one thing I was considering doing was at the time it was called the professional division, but at TBT, I got the same offer for like studio training company my senior year of high school. So it was like
Oh,
almost between that and going to OU. But at the time, I felt like OU was a better decision just to like continue school and like go that way. But then it's kind of funny looking back at it now that like I kind of took the same thing like 2 years later. But it's like kind of like funny thinking how some things just work out at different times in your life. So like at first, like, oh, you felt better, and then I was like, no, like I want to go dance at TBT. Um, but other than that, there's really nothing. Again, I don't regret it. Like that's just the one thing that like I think about, like, oh, like where could I have ended up if I didn't, go to OU?
right.
But I also made so
Hmm.
many connections while I was at OU. Like I have so many people that I'm still friends with, still close with, and they're out doing amazing things in the dance world. Like I have a friend who's in Dance Theater of Harlem, dancing there. I have friends in Oklahoma City Ballet, lots of friends dancing all around New York. Um, so it's kind of cool to see like where they've all ended up and still be connected to them. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't really have any regrets. So
I'm
yeah,
glad to hear that.
I feel like everything that happens, I feel like kind of happens for a reason. So I never really want to like look
Yeah.
back in the past and be like, oh darn, like I should have done this instead of that. Because I'm just kind of like, well, that's what I chose to do, so that's what happened, and now I'm here.
Yeah, well, okay. Uh, let's see.
Sorry, choking on water. I do that a lot.
You're good. Um, let's see. After you dance, after your career, when you plan to retire, do you want to still stay in the dance world, or, I mean, I know obviously you said you want to go back to school and
Yeah,
finish that.
I. It's a good question. I kind of. Sorry.
You're
Wow.
good.
Oh, my family makes fun of me all the time for choking on water, and here I am choking on water once again. I kind of feel like I will. I because I like teach, and so I kind of feel like I might continue teaching once I'm done because I really enjoy it. I think part of it too could be that like I've always grown up around the dance world and in the dance world, and it just kind of like being involved in some way. I don't want to say it like comes naturally to me, but it's like comfortable for me. Um, I don't have like an entire game plan for when I finish dancing either. So it's kind of another one of those things. I'll just cross that bridge when I get to it and take it baby step at a time. But I'd like to still stay
Yeah.
involved in some way, whether that will end up just um, being a supporter, being an audience member. Um, but I have a feeling it'll be more than that in some way. Also, whether that be in like arts management, because I've been interested in that, or just getting into like the admin business side of companies or schools or something like that.
Hmm. Nice, very nice. All right, and my last question is if you could give your younger self or just any young pre-professional dancer, any advice, whether in dance or in life, what would it be?
Just keep going. Um, yeah, just keep putting in the work, showing up every day, trying to find the little things to be happy about, to be proud of. Um, Even on those days where you don't feel like anything's working. I don't know, maybe you did a really, really nice tendu. That's something to be proud of. It sounds really stupid, but it's something. Um, I don't know. Yeah, just put in the work, show up. Um, don't be afraid to be yourself also. Um, both like in the studio and outside the studio, of course. But like, because your personality will show through your dancing, and just have fun with it. You know, I said this before, but I think dancing is a gift. Being a dancer is such a amazing thing that we get to do, and I'm so lucky that I'm able to do it. Um, yeah, I think that's what I'd say about that. There's a lot of other things I could say, but it's a good overall thing.
Well, that's really good advice, and I definitely need to remind myself of that more every day.
Oh, and do your Pilates.
Yeah, well,
I'll add that in there. Do your Pilates. It works wonders.
gotcha. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, after talking to you, I see you are a perfect example of persevering and always continuing to do what you love. I mean, you've done 2 years in college, 3 years as a trainee or studio company, and finally now you are an SP2, and I'm sure it's rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of dancing. It does feel like sometimes, like after kind of putting it that way, like step by step, but every year I know I keep improving as a dancer. I've danced all these great pieces of work, both classically and contemporary. And yeah, I don't know, just keep going, just keep working hard.
Yeah, and I find you to be one of my favorite dancers to watch in the second company. You're always a joy to work with and to just interact with. Um, you've also, in a sense, kind of naturally have taken on this leadership kind of quality in the second company. Um, people will always go to you for help or advice, even if it's just what's the schedule for the day or something like that. But no, yeah, you're extremely positive, and I'm really glad that I'm working with you
Oh,
this season.
thanks. I'm really glad I'm working with you too. You're really fun to be in the
Thank
studio
you.
with.
Um, Thanks. Okay. Well, that basically wraps up the interview part. I've got one last fun segment for you to test if you are a big Harry
Oh
Styles
no,
fan or not.
no. I feel like I'm gonna put myself to shame. Joseph.
Don't worry. It's only 6 questions about Harry Styles, and I think you'll get them all right. I don't know. I just googled in Harry
Oh
Styles
no.
quiz for the hardcore Harry
Oh
Styles
no.
fan. So,
I feel like I'm gonna embarrass myself.
okay, first question. You know what? That's okay. First question. What did Harry want to be before he was an artist?
Oh my gosh, I know this. What did he want to be? I totally know this. Why do I feel like this is gonna be wrong, but I feel like it's like A doctor? I don't think that's right.
It's close. I mean, this is what the website told me. It said he wanted to be a
Oh,
lawyer.
okay. I knew it was some sort of high professional thing. Okay, we're gonna go to the next question now.
Yeah. Okay. In Harry's discography, there is one song title with a girl's name in it. Do you know what it is?
Like in Carolina? Or is it Anna?
No.
Well, that's in his unreleased music. In
I
his
mean, in the
actual.
oh, yeah, like in the title of the song, there is a girl's name in it.
Hang on a second. I'm like blanking on all of Harry Styles songs right now because I'm put on the spot.
I can give you
Which
a
album is
hint.
it from?
Hey, I
Oh,
have no idea.
is it? Well, is it? Is it more recent or not recent from your understanding?
um, I have no
Okay,
idea. I can Google this real quick. um,
I don't.
let's see. Oh, it's from Harry's
Oh,
house.
Matilda.
So very recent.
Oh, pff.
Yeah,
See, I
there
just
you
like
go.
literally went blank, and I literally had three song titles repeating in my head, and none of them had a name in them. Okay.
All right, okay. Can you name two of Harry's favorite colors? Or his two favorite colors, not two of his favorite colors.
Um, this is gonna be wrong. I don't know. I literally been like picturing him wearing every single color that has ever existed. Is my first instinct is to say pink and blue, but then purple also pops into mind.
One of those was right.
Is it purple? Is it
No.
blue and
Yeah.
green? Oh, darn it. Okay,
No.
what's the other one? Ah,
Orange.
I would not have
Blue and
guessed orange.
orange.
Wow, this is really sad.
You know what? This quiz website could be lying to me for all I know, but that's what it told me.
I told
So,
you this was going to be really bad.
do you know do you know Harry Styles'
It's
birthday?
February 1st. Yeah, which is
Good
also on
job.
Wednesday. So I will be
Uh-oh.
wearing
Yeah.
all of the Harry
Yeah,
Styles
very close.
items that I own.
Nice.
Wait, maybe it's Thursday. Anyways, it's the first, whenever the first is.
Um, do you know what Harry's middle name is?
Edward.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good job. And last question, what is Harry's favorite animal?
I should know this. Is it like a really simple animal or
Um, yeah, I would say it's simple. It's not a specific like species or breed.
I kind of just want to say cat, but I don't think that's right. That's not right. What is
um,
it?
it's a sea animal.
A turtle? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a turtle.
A turtle did pop in my head,
Yeah.
but then I thought that was wrong. Anyways, I'm gonna see myself out now.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got like three and a
Oh,
half
oh,
questions right. That's
oh,
okay. And I'm sure you know all of his discography. I know you've been to a
yeah.
concert before, so
I even know his unreleased songs. So, anyways,
Yeah, well, that's all for the interview. Thank you so much for taking your time out of
uh,
your only day off to do
no,
this.
this was really awesome. Actually, thank you for having me come come
Yeah,
on,
of course.
and I hope I shared some worthwhile information. And yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure you did. I think you're a good first guest. I'm sure it'll be very informative to whoever watches this. So, yeah.
awesome. Oh, cool.
All right, have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you tomorrow
Thank
for
you.
class
You
and
as well.
rehearsal.
See you for a full day
Thank you.
Monday.
Yep.